Respected chair of the sessions, dear audience, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon to everyone. This is difficult for me to discuss this topic in front of our most respected Professor Ujjwal Kumar Chaudhary sir and another of the practical journalist in the field level, respected sir, Zakir Hussain sir. Though I am trying to share my practical experience in this topic, Professor Ujjwal sir is the master of the masters in Delphis, and he is the iconic figure in this area. It is difficult for me to discuss information. Basically, this topic I share from my practical experience. Just 6 months ago, one of the great success of our university, I'm trying, our team was champion in the blockchain competition, in the world competition. At that time, those who are the coverage the education related newspaper, basically educational journalists, I have a very good relationship with them. Though I am covered look after the public relations, another 6 persons work with me, 5 persons. At that time, I am trying to cover all the leading print media in our country. At that time, most of the newspaper coverage, 3 or 4 journalists, they are shown they are less interested regarding this issue. This is your university achievement. What are the responsible coverage issue? At that time, I mentioned there, it is a national achievement and it's a great opportunity to represent our country. It's a proud moment. It is a country branding issue. And that time I decided, we all have known the media attitude is always bad news is good news. Always they try to portray or cover is the bad news in the very big picture. That time I decided, for my professional experience, how media portray the higher education and try to find out the portrayal of higher education in Bangladeshi newspaper. Especially I take the 2 daily newspaper as a case study. Daily Portrayal and Daily Star, one of the 2 mostly uses Bengali newspaper, Daily Portrayal, and widely circulated daily English is the daily newspaper. I earlier mentioned the present study has aimed to exploring depiction of a state of higher education through the news media, what I mentioned earlier. And the Daily Portrayal and the Daily Star were selected and their content or analysis to understand their coverage of the higher education, as I mentioned. And the key focus of this study is to invest how the publish high-profile higher education news. Actually, this topic I try to prepare as a research work in this area before that Bangladesh has no work in this area, but outside in the country to work in this area. We know the newspaper has the significant role to portray the social issues as like education, one of them. The all time we found in our Bangladeshi culture, the media all time focus the negative issues and less important like education, culture. They focus their interested area and they focus their agenda setting area. And for that reason, I choose and try to find out the role of media to portray higher education in our country newspaper system. Okay, background is already mentioned. Nobody can deny the significance of the role of the media in portrayal higher education, and that reason I decided, and from my experience, insist me to work in this topic. And basically, problem statement already mentioned my experience and create a public awareness. Basically, I want to find out from my study to build a public awareness how the role, how media play a role, and what is the role of media to focusing or to portray the higher education or any kinds of education by focusing higher education, because I work in the higher education institution, and that reason I choose this topic and working in this subject in what this research area. 3 are research question here. I found out that 3 research questions. What coverage newspaper give the higher education sector in Bangladesh in terms of attention, emphasis, and prominence? I try to find out in 3 areas. Sometimes it focuses in the instance also. In the latter, I will find out to try to hear. And second question is what are the theme and the corresponding frame positive, negative, neutral. We also know media always try to focus the news positively, negatively, or neutrally here. And thirdly, what are the source of collecting news? Major source is the government officials, or the education institution, or the civil society, and many more. Research objective are here to analyze the coverage of the two national dailies, Daily Portrayal and Daily Star, in the period of January 2024 to June 2024. Significance of the study, I also mentioned earlier, and this is the study facilitates the need of portrayal of higher education in the daily newspaper. The research aim demonstrate that how news portrayal of higher education facilities students to uncover the portrayal crucial for their socio-economic upliftment, and the main focus the understanding the different phases of media role, especially print media, the role in portrayal of higher education in Bangladesh. And this paper will provide a catalyst resource how media portray higher education news in their respective area. And other significance of this study is the stakeholder body or controlling authority, University Grants Commission, Education Ministry, and other stakeholder body of the country. They will get some source of hands-off informations about the picture, real picture of promoting of higher education in the print media. Literature driven study framework here. Basically, I focus the three things here: media responsibility and journalist accountability, and then higher education focus on newspaper, and lastly, why news coverage is important. Here, the mentioned theoretical framework and the conceptual framework. Theoretical framework here I mentioned the agenda setting theory and the framing theory. Details are not mentioned here for the shortage of time. I just touch the key points here. I show the framing theory, how framing theory works in this research. Is agenda setting theory and framing theory. And section I try to focus themes, attention, emphasis, prominence, and source. And later on in the framing conceptual theory, I discuss details. Conceptual frameworks. At this conceptual framework, I try to find out attention, how we take attention of the mention of keywords. We know what kind of attention. Emphasis, describe of issue as example, role of quality higher education. How media emphasizes the what kind of news is regarding higher education, the emphasis in their papers, especially Portrayal and Daily Star. Prominence, in which section, high prominence, low prominence, and middle prominence. Stance, coverage in positive or negative or neutral. Research designs, my study area, this research design is the exploratory design. I did not find any previous research work in this area. My research work is helped me to explore a new arena of or the avenues to focus how media work, how media focus higher education news in their interest, in their framing theory or agenda setting theory. Research methodology, both methodology are using here, qualitative method and quantitative method, both are the mixture here. Some mostly cover the quantitative method, and the secondary data cover is the qualitative method. Research approach, I already mentioned the deductive approach, and research approach I try to find out here. I firstly portray higher education, data gathering, data analysis, then try to finalize the find out here. Variable measures, I try to mention here the media coverage and higher education news. Media coverage by Portrayal and Daily Star to editorial policy. Number of related articles on higher educations. Number of word pictures they display. Analyzes the content of coverage. Coverage analysis in terms of attention, emphasis, prominence, and stance. Population sampling. The target population is whole those who are working in the media, but for the research purpose, As a sampling, I selected two media, Portrayal and Dailies, especially those who are working the reporter and their editorial base and APED or the working in the editorial sector. They are the sampling paper. Sampling design already mentioned here. Research instrument, basically content analysis are the core research instrument are using here. Data gathering procedure, I mentioned the timeline from January 2024 to June 2024. The first time duration is mentioned here. I will not discuss details for the time analysis. Data analysis, content analysis. Actually, I try to collect the data and after collecting data, then data analysis, then find out the content analysis. How their content coverage in terms of I mentioned attention, emphasis, 4 minutes and instance. Thematic analysis, how thematic modeling work, I just showing here. Timeline study already mentioned here. Limitation of the study. Once the important side, the limitation of the study. Only 2 papers are selected here, though the huge number of papers are working in Bangladesh. Here is the no portray the real picture in this study. Though try to find out how the leading 2 daily newspaper are portray their direction. That's the limitation of this study. Ethical consideration mentioned here as a research work with the ethical consideration always maintained here also. Funding and discussion. Basically, this research work are stimulated me in this incident that's mentioned here. Findings try to find out. Media always try to portray the negative tone, even though media is called the fourth state of the fourth pillar of the state. I try to find out my research work. Through my research work, media has a significant role to portray the higher education and any other as a social responsibility to portray their as they expected their positions. Sometimes in the public university or private university, they have the significant achievement, but media covers as a corner trial or a negative tone or a just mention their paper as a 3rd page, 4th page, or in the corner side of the paper. But media has own responsibility as a news value. They focus only for the pressure group of the PR department or communication department. But as a media has the significant role to portray the social scenario, the achievement, or the collaboration, or the student achievement as their news value. I try to find out, or my findings are mentioning here, media has a special responsibility or significant responsibility to portray the real scenario as their news value. So the basic findings I try to find out from my professional experience and the practices in the Bangladeshi media, real role of media to portray or the analysis or the real responsibility to society as a part of the important pillar of the country, as the 4th pillar of the country. So I try to find out new avenues which is not working in our country previously, and I seek blessing, and especially blessing for Ujjwal sir. I am already working in my work already half done, try to find out a really scenario of the media role to portray of higher education. I strongly believe and faith. I try to find out these findings and hope this finding is help our stakeholder body as like UGC are those who working in the educational side as especially the educational reporter. They got a findings that is really helpful for their future source of information, how media portray in higher education in Bangladesh. Thank you all. Thanks all for your passion having.
Thanks, Abu Sadat Bhai. Here is an there's one question from Professor Sir.
First of all, I appreciate good work, very typically academic research approach, theory, empirical, then that very good. Since you have mentioned my name 2-3 times, I would like to add 1 or 2 comments here. First of all, I think this is your PhD research, right?
Yes, sir.
It's in progress.
Yeah.
One of the challenges of media coverage of higher education is that everyone seeks coverage of the institute rather than the issues. So, and higher education coverage need not be education specific. There could be issues in the country. For example, there is a reserve crisis, let's say, of foreign exchange. So an article is being written on foreign exchange reserve crisis. Now, if the HOD of commerce or economics of your university is quoted there extensively, that also is a coverage. In fact, the PR department should aim to position individual great teachers in the media rather than only the brand name of the university. Because many a time, the brand name of the university becomes sort of a promotion or PR. But when an academic professor, very senior in a subject, is quoted in a context, in an issue that the people are talking about, or the something, let's say the budget of the country has come. In that situation, or elections are coming, and your political science or public administration head is quoted on issues there, that becomes a much more credible branding in the long run. That's one observation. Can you also find those sort of coverage, and not only the coverage of the university or in only context of education? Second, by many a time you try to push, every university tries to push stories related to seminars and exhibitions or conferences, and media finds it, but television will not cover, but even print media finds it boring. So therefore, because I worked on the media side, now I'm on the education side, so if you find a news spec, so if there is a conference, let's say related to sustainability, which is a very common thing now, if you can connect with the current issue of the country, which is related to that topic, let's say a crisis in environment in the country, in a real new, not the regular thing, something new spec. If you connect the conference to a real news spec, the chances of being covered increases. And if you do not share only the conference news, but share some research outcome. So if you are talking about a conference on banking system, you start by telling how so many banks were there and what's the current status, and then come to the conference, then it's better covered. So if it is only coverage of an event, media is not interested. If it is issue leading to the event, media is more interested. However, having said that, I really appreciate a good work being done in public relations of private universities. Congratulations for that.
So it's a smart covering. I've seen we can appreciate the way he represented the topic, and we have seen, and that has paved the way for such a down the line back and volley from our professor in this field, and we have learned a lot from him, and we will be careful in our next program how to get media attention. Now our last presenter from this session is Mr. Tamal Kumar Mukhopadhyay.